I want to bring up one final thing, just to keep your eye on, because I have been keeping an eye on it while the show is going. So Luigi Mangione is set to make his first court appearance today. I have not seen any reporting that he has been in court, so it's definitely a developing story, something to watch. Luigi Mangione is accused of shooting the CEO of United Healthcare in New York. A couple months ago, he was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I think a lot of you know, at the McDonald's. And he has developed this reputation as a modern day vigilante, as a healthcare corruption folk hero. His defense team has apparently raised over $500,000 ahead of this hearing. So he's got popular support. Do you guys have any predictions for how this trial is going to go now that there's more legal action underway?
I think the left is going to be paying a lot of close attention to this, as well as the corporate media that has pretty much made the story as big as it is right now. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of important ramifications for the left that feels kind of desolate and lost. And sadly, they're looking for, crazy people like this Luigi guy to kind of represent them, and there are larger voices of discontent. But this is not the way. And this is a incredibly important case that could potentially spark off more civil chaos in our society. And I think we already had enough of that. We're entering the summer months. And every time the spring comes along, the summer comes along, we see a lot of protests. We see a lot of actions from the left. We saw the mostly peaceful Summer of Love, which burned down, a significant portion of this country, took the life of 3,000 people that the corporate media promoted. This could be their new rallying call, especially with how this legal proceeding goes on. It definitely does seem like even the court system and the way that they're kind of vilifying him, and the way that they're trying to even make him look like Superman in some instances with all these photo ops, definitely are very peculiar to me. And from the very beginning of this story, I was saying this is just weird. There's something else going on here that I can't quite put my finger on, other than just trying to essentially create a psyop that would have crazy Joker-like people going after rich billionaires, CEOs, and entrepreneurs in this country. So I think that's the latest ley line for the culture war that the CIA could be trying to psyop here.
What do you think, Gothix? Any predictions for Luigi?
I have no predictions, but they got to lock this guy up, and they got to, because as Luke just mentioned, we are probably going to see a lot more civil unrest and protests, and they're trying to prop this guy up like he's literally, the Messiah, and it's very sickening to me. Like, you can have your gripes about insurance and healthcare and all that stuff, but like the what he did is just, it's just unimaginable. And it's crazy how warped people are to think that that is a valid course of action to like make your voice heard about something. So I don't know. They got to lock this guy up and they got to make an example out of him. I mean, that's my case.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're both kind of touching on the same, or something I feel, which is that a lot of this is reliant on public perception of who he is and what happened. I agree. We don't actually want random shootings on the streets of major cities, whether they're, gang related crimes or vigilantes who feel like they're empowered by some cause. Like that's still violence that we're not supportive of. Luigi's sort of popularity among progressives, men and women, I think is not going to be enough to secure him a not guilty verdict, but it's definitely something that his defense team is relying on. I mean, I remember when he was arrested, we got the initial mugshot, he looked pretty unkempt. And then there were pictures of him later where, his eyebrows have been tweezed and his hair has been cut. And what was going around was, the inmates did it because they're saying we want to protect him. When to me, it seems more likely that his attorney was like, we got to get this kid a haircut because people are interested in him. There is this desire to say that he is somehow representing those who feel like they've been abused by the system, whether that be the healthcare system or the justice system or whatever it is. And so that you'll have this sort of popular support for him. And again, like I said, they have raised $500,000. So it's not like it isn't working.
Yeah, the amount of money that they have been able to raise around this case should be alarming to a lot of people, since he took the life of someone who was a father in cold blood, and you have people rallying behind him. You have people giving him all this money. I mean, there's people during my show that were like, "Yeah, that CEO is horrible," and I'm like, "Okay, can you tell me why this CEO is horrible?" And they couldn't tell me. They're like, "Oh yeah, someone said that they had tunnels. He had tunnels in his house." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What does that have to do with anything that is deserving of having capital punishment, of having
Well, and
someone
I
literally?"
understand
Yeah.
frustration with United Healthcare. Like, you think that they're not pricing correctly. You think that they're denying people insurance. Like, totally fair to be criticisms, but like taking down this one CEO actually didn't change anything. United Healthcare continues on. It doesn't seem like it's the effective solution. It was a flash in the pan, but if you feel as though United Healthcare has wronged you, or the big insurance is corrupt, actually nothing changed, which is to me sad. I mean,
yeah, I think we are going to see significant change in the healthcare industry with RFK Jr. That's the way to kind of move forward, propping him up, supporting him, allowing him to kind of come in there and look at things from a fresh point of view, and seeing, oh yeah, there is a lot of corruption. There is a lot of kickbacks. Our system is outdated. Our system is charging way too much. We spend so much on healthcare, but our life expectancy keeps going down. I think we're the #1 country in the world that spends the most amount of money on healthcare, but yet our country is less healthy every single year. That is a serious discussion. I just wish that discussion was done in a more conductive way rather than just using the force of violence, which I think the left is going to try to coalesce behind, since they are becoming more and more disillusioned. And I think that leaves us in a very dangerous particular situation that we should be keeping an eye out on. And, the best thing to do, because it's to not give it that much attention, but the corporate media and some of the judicial system around this entire case is making it an issue, is making him infamous, is promoting him, and is getting his larger kind of dangerous ideas out there to the general public. And they're kind of selling it as something that's more acceptable than actually going through the proper means and ways of implementing change.
Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on this case. Like I said, he's due to appear in court today, so you'll probably get an update on what's going on with him. I think his trial is scheduled for later this year, but it is one of these weird stories where, yes, we are frustrated with healthcare. No, I don't think this guy is the hero that apparently the left wants to make him out to be. Especially, it is always, I don't even know if it's funny at this point or surprising, but the widespread acceptance or encouragement of violence from progressive thought leaders is very weird. And I think the fandom around Luigi is unfortunately symptomatic of that. So if you guys are interested in the story, I'd encourage you to keep checking on it. Unfortunately, there wasn't a development, or there wasn't any specific news that came out while we are live today. Let's get our final comments from our lovely community here. Forced Name Change says, I'd rather listen to Pinkard and Bowden than Bush and Bowman. Look them up. They're more than a bit irrelevant. I think there's a lot of people I would rather listen to than Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman. Even on the left. I mean, I think there are more interesting people on the left philosophically than those two. But maybe I'm just being catty at this point. On YouTube, I think we're actually, no, there we go. On YouTube, Anthony Williams says, Pam Bondi said Trump told her to release the client list and it's sitting on her desk right now. Victory. Are you guys have any estimates for when we're getting this client list? We haven't, so far we're at like the 24-hour mark of Kash Patel and it's not out, but it could come this weekend.
Well, I hope it doesn't come on a Friday night. I hope it comes Monday morning. Fresh off the presses, where everyone's kind of paying attention, where we could actually have a legitimate conversation, where people aren't kind of tuning out, where people aren't just going off and going to happy hour. I want this to be the prime mainstream story, and it would be a disservice if it's released Friday night. I want it to be released prime time so we could talk about it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, since this is the story of the decade that many people want out immediately.
Mm-hmm. I kind of agree with you, although I am amazed by how effective weekends have been for the Trump administration. There's been a couple different, like when Trump was negotiating with Colombia and talking about tariffs, that story excuse me, that story really developed over the weekend. And I could see the mainstream media is going to resist this story as long as it can, but all of the internet sleuths, if they were able to get their hands on the Epstein client lists, give them a Saturday and a Sunday, I bet they could get an insane amount done. What do you think, Gothix?
Yeah, I mean, I still kind of agree with like Luke. They need to release it on Monday. I want to see it now, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to see. Another thing to keep your eyes on. Gothic Simp says, I find it strange that they protest the CEO when they are the ones voting for the politicians that allow the system. Yep. It seems
they don't see the correlation, though. These people, they just vote and they don't even know what the hell they're voting for.